This young man, his name is Chase Iron Eyes. He was raised on the Standing Rock Indian Reservation until the age of 19 and earned his undergraduate degree at the University of North Dakota studying political science. He graduated in 2007 from the University of Denver Law School and is licensed to practice law in South Dakota and in the federal courts in North and South Dakota. Chase is currently charged with a felony, 5 years in prison as a result of his participation in the historic No Dapple struggle, which called into question the trajectory of our global economic reality. He is charged with inciting a riot. Chase took part in the founding of hashtag Native Lives Matter movement, and his organization, the Lakota People's Law Project, documented the disparities in police killings and contact after Alan Locke was murdered by the Rapid City Police one day after attending a Native Lives Matter rally. Chase has founded the media source, Last Real Indians, as a spiritual brain trust for the evolution of original national thought, and its mission has blossomed to include frontline activism, bridge building to other struggles, nonprofit youth empowerment work on the reservation, and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Chase Iron Eyes.
Thank you for that. Hamadakiapi chante washte nabe chiuza apelo kokipa shnimani hema chayelo. My name is Chase Iron Eyes. That's my English name, and thank you for that wonderful introduction that I wrote. I'm going to sit down if you don't mind. I'm honored and privileged to be able to participate in front of some of my elders, in front of people that I respect, in front of thought leaders who are taking it upon themselves, who find it, incumbent upon themselves to try to create a new reality, a new direction for our planet. Because as we know, those of us in the faith-based community, or in the community of faith to begin with, those of us who are making that conscious choice to pursue a faith or to know a faith and to pursue a spiritual liberation, as I believe that we, no matter what faith we happen to be born into, or what language we happen to be born into, or what the phenotype of our skin color, or the contours of our culture, whatever we were born into, we are on a path of spiritual evolution. This liberation is confronted on all sides by many different things in our academic tradition, in our religious tradition, and things that I don't know all there is to know about. But what I do know is that somewhere along the path, within the last 3,000 years, 4,000 years, something like that, our religious tradition, speaking as a member of the human family, begin to say things like, we, usually men, we men are endowed by God with Mother Earth, with gift. God is giving to us, human beings, gifts. This includes land, this includes waters, this includes four-leggeds, wingeds, things that crawl, things that swim. All forms of organic life are, according to our way of viewing the world and interpreting the universe, are being given to man, to the two-legged creature. And you can see how ludicrous that sounds to some faiths. I don't mean to use the word ludicrous in a pejorative way, although there's probably no way not to save myself from that one. But we're not ascribing value to, in our worldviews, in our cosmologies, in our cosmovisions, entities that are older than the Anthropocene period. And when we assert, however fallaciously, we're asserting dominion over things. The Bible says we can do that God gives these gifts to us so that we can have dominion over them. And it is also saying that these gifts are given to man. And sometimes these tenets, these beliefs, have led us to an abstraction, a separation, a division, a colonization. It has caused a separation between our spirit and our mind, our spirit and nature, what we call nature in the West. It has caused a separation now with our food source. Like we don't have a relationship with our food source anymore. And for all of the collective of humanity, a sacred covenant, a sacred relationship, even a mythological relationship with your food source is extremely important to a civilized worldview. Whether that's with the buffalo, like the culture, the language, the people that I was born into, we have a cosmological relationship with the buffalo. But some have that with the salmon, some have that with corn, or with the deer, or with certain members of the plant nation. And I think that for those of us in the faith-based community who are well aware of climate change and have no qualms about saying that it is synthetic, that it is caused by multinational agribusiness, it is caused by the carbon economy. That's to say nothing of the currency which has been created and the financialization of our economic reality coupled with extractive industries. That is also to say nothing of the entire advertising industry, those purveyors of cool, of fashion, of beauty, pop culture. That is to say nothing of pop culture. And how now in 2017 we can see that we have gone off the good path. There is no compassion in capitalism. Since Nietzsche was out there claiming that God is dead, we are 7 billion people find themselves separated from their food source, separated from a relationship with water, mini-wichoni, or with a sacred site, or with the land, or with the stars. That's a lot of people who are left out in this place, searching, seeking a liberation from an economic system, a political system, and a legal system that has colonized humanity. Not just when we think of, and I grew up on an Indian reservation. When I first started to learn of colonization, and that word, you think of it in terms of Anglican people of the Christic faith colonizing or enslaving Africa, our hemisphere here. You think of genocides, and I'm not trying to make light of those experiences in our shared legacies in any way, shape, or form. But there was also another colonization that happened to all of us that we don't talk about. And that is the separation of ourselves from our food source and our spirit from our mind, our spirits from nature. That's all of us. That's the boat that we are in right now. And we are all together facing existential crises like climate change, like water shortages, like my 10-year-old son just 2 days ago, or whenever Russia flew those bombers near Alaska. He was asking me why they are doing that. So he started Googling, and he finds out that we are facing a nuclear threat. At least the media is telling us to be afraid, to be very concerned with this nuclear problem, this nuclear threat that is represented by President number 45, Kim Jong-un, Putin, whoever else. But it's clear now that we are facing these crises together. And we simply don't have time. There are things that we can do in the faith-based community. And the Pope, I call Pope Francis the wokest Pope in history. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Pope Francis. I just finished reading Laudato Si. What does that mean? Praises be unto him, I think it means. But it's really amazing. It's good stuff. It's powerful stuff, because in order to change the economic reality, the economic tradition, the legal reality, and the legal tradition, our jurisprudence, the collective jurisprudence of the West, you first have to start with a spiritual awakening. It's a conscious, creative, and conceptive act to be able to say things like water is sacred. And I know the Pope understands that, because the Pope, or whoever's writing this document for him, his second encyclical, is saying that it should be a sin to destroy water, to destroy God's gift. And I'll give it to him, God's gift to man. I don't agree with that, of course. But if it represents a spiritual evolution, in a cognitive evolution, anything's better than the system that we have right now, that completely ignores not only the sanctity of water, but the intrinsic, quote-unquote, economic value of something like water. It is completely taken for granted. We've been taking our planet for granted for a long time. And it's causing this, we call it climate change. I heard a brother yesterday, I don't remember the name of his people. I wish I could, it's not Yanomami, but it's somewhere in Brazil. He said that in their worldview, the climate isn't changing, but that Mother Earth, the climate, that nature is responding to offensive acts from human beings. And it makes perfect sense either way you look at it. If you call it climate change, you might end up arguing some Retrumplicans for a lifetime, whether or not it's caused by humans or not. But if you see it this other way, then imparted in those worldviews, in those statements, are tenets, are beliefs that say that we have this living relationship with Mother Earth. We're not separate. But in our minds, we've been made to think that we are separate from that. Even that we're separate from each other. According to language, to culture, all those classifications, which, we have to respect our differences, but we more importantly need to transcend those differences and see where we are at in terms of an evolving humanity, and we need to change that path, that trajectory. And we can do that. But we have to lay those spiritual foundations first and be thought leaders and action leaders. Even though I'm facing 5 years in prison right now, I know what I'm standing up against. We know what we are standing up against. And it is a force of dark. If you call it too big to fail finance, that abstraction, that happen, that separation that causes us to be able to exploit and destroy Mother Earth, or to be able to see it as a gift from God to me as man for me to assert dominion over. That is something that we need to liberate from. We don't have to sit here and call it evil or whatever, but we've got to appreciate it and we've got to liberate from it. I have taken up enough of your time, and I will thank you for your attention. Thank you.